And boom, we are live. Welcome, folks, to the American Movie Podcast. If you've never been here before, welcome aboard. I go through movies, news, documentaries, Netflix series, Netflix originals, and today I'm going over Kevin Hart's Don't F This Up 6-part docu-series. So I really enjoyed this. It's captivating. So it goes over Kevin Hart's pretty much ever since he got filed for a divorce, and then he's in his new relationship, and he still has his 2 children, and then he has another child with his newest wife. So this is the closest this is like, it's as real as you might get. I mean, it's as real as I've seen for a while. He shows all of his follies in here, not all of them, but like a lot of them, and a lot of the behind the scenes footage, and a lot of footage where he gets aggressive towards his entourage. His entourage is called the Plastic Cup Boys. They all drink those red Solo cups, and it's crazy. It's really crazy. It shows, like, it goes over the Oscars. It goes over his relationships. It goes over his friendships. Like, he helps out a friend. His friend was like broke and didn't have a home. So he was the first comedian to have 3 openers. So he put his friend at the very, very beginning so he could make a little bit of money, so he could actually provide for himself and make a living. And it also goes over like his bad tweets or his past tweets. And that was one of the biggest controversies. And one of the biggest lessons is that if you trust, like, Kevin Hart trusts himself a lot, and he trusts his gut so much and wants to make a point where he wants to just not acknowledge these bad tweets anymore because they were homophobic. And he had already addressed it, and it was 10 years ago, and he's like, that's not me, and he went with his own principles and didn't listen to the team that he created around him. So he created this media team. So if he trusts his judgment, then you got to trust your team because you picked all those people too. And if you're the only person saying, hey, I don't think you should just die on this hill, you should probably listen. Like, that was one of the biggest takeaways that I learned anyways from it, that like, if you trust yourself and you become this humongous, the biggest comedian in the world, and you create this team, you are not dumb. So you should probably listen to the team that you created. Because he just woke up and he just stuck to his guns, and Good Morning America went, and he was just like, I'm not talking about this anymore. And whenever you say, I'm not talking about this anymore, people want to talk about it even more. So it's like, it's almost like pink elephant syndrome. So like, don't do that, and then people do it. So it's the exact, like, almost the same. But if you try and cover it up or say, I'm done talking about it, they're just going to push it even more. So that was one of the biggest lessons. Like, if you trust yourself, trust your team, listen to the team too, because just when you get 10, 15 people, there's a whole hell of a lot better ideas with 10 or 15 than just yours. So yeah, that was one. And there was like, he got betrayed. So he had trust issues within some of his, like, he has a small entourage. And so someone, I think, hid a video camera or something like that, in one of his hotel rooms. And like, it was just a private initiation of sexual escapades. So that he gets allegedly extorted by that. And I think they dropped the charges or something like that. Like, all this is just according to the documentary. And then it goes into his companies that he's created. He's created a production company. He's got Heartbeat Productions, I believe. And then he has a whole host of other companies that are like, and he's got Nike deals. He's got all these things, and it just shows the chaos and the busyness and just one thing after another that he does. And one thing that I saw very, very interesting, that I don't know if he does it on purpose, but it looked to be that way, is that when he like enters giant crowds and he's getting overwhelmed by the mob, he has bodyguards, but he'll also whip out his phone and start videoing, and he'll include the people with him, and people start to back off. So like, they'll see he's making a video and they'll allow him to like have a little bit of room if he includes them and starts talking. So I don't know if he uses that not only as a marketing tool, but also it's just a self-defense tool. Just like, hey man, give me a little bit of personal space because you see me doing this thing and I'm panning around, and you get a little bit and you get to see yourself in the camera phone too. So I found that kind of fascinating. I saw him do it at least once as just kind of, it seemed protective. So that was kind of interesting. And you just get to see, I mean, it's this as close as you'll ever get to Kevin Hart, probably, you know? And it's admirable that he shows all these faults. I think it's incredible. And there's like, it's pretty well done. Yeah, you just get to see a lot of insights. I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, it's a lot better than, some of the stuff that you got as options, especially if you like comedy. I'm a humongous fan of comedy, and this guy's he's just everywhere. And he started from nothing. That's one of the coolest stories too. It's compelling. Like this guy started with, he had not a horrible dad, but just a troubled dad. And he actually forgave his father. That was one of the biggest things too. Like his father left his mom. He was a drug addict, and you see the health complications and his health being compromised towards the end of the series, and he has forgiven his father for that. And I think that's one of the biggest things in the world too. Like you get to see him just let it go, and he's just like, you're still my dad. I love you. You're there. Like you're going to be here. You're going to see my family. You get to spend time with my family. And it's a whole bunch of just complicated messes, man. And I think it's a perspective of life, I think, per complicated messes. And like, there's so much gray. So it's cool. If you like comedy, you should check it out. Give it a shot. At least the first episode, give it a shot. I think they're like 40 minutes, something like that. But yeah, so that was Kevin Hart's docuseries, Don't F This Up. Let me know what you thought. And if you want to start your own podcast, there's a link down below. It's a free guide to start your own podcast, or there's a full course that's step-by-step, show you exactly what gear I use, how to set it up, how to put everything together, what services I use, everything you would ever need, editing, post-production, everything you'd ever need in order to start your own podcast. So check that out as well. There's a free guide that has bare bones core of it, and then a full step-by-step course as well. So check that out. I implore you to check that out if you want to start your own podcast. Podcasts are huge. I love them. And I want to create a network around. If you join this course, we can network and talk with each other. We can join each other's podcasts. I will help your podcast. You will help my podcast. So I think that there's a humongous opportunity there. So if you want to start it, start. And that guide will get you started even if you don't want to be a part of the course. So until next time, that was Kevin Hart. Don't fuck this up. Thank you so much. Matthew Benjamin with the American Movie Podcast. Bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye-bye.